Hello, everyone, and welcome to our overview of Besyncly, Eureka's fantastic cloud application, which integrates Sage with many other applications quickly and easily. We are EBS, your trusted technology partner for over 43 years. We specialize in the deployment of Sage Business Management and Microsoft solutions, managed services, and secure on-premises and cloud-based infrastructure. My name is Darren Tolley, and I'm one of the account managers here at EBS. I'm joined today by Alan James from Eureka, and without further ado, I'll pass you over to Alan, who will show you an overview of Besyncly. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Darren. Thank you very much for that intro. Yes, I'm Alan James from Eureka Solutions, the authors of Besyncly, a cloud-based integration platform. And iPaaS for short, integration platform as a service. Besyncly sits on the Google App Engine, which is a secure cloud platform, which also transfer data securely as it encrypts the data from connector to connector. So I thought the first thing I'd do would be to go into Besyncly to show you the current connectors. So let me explain. The connectors are the widgets that hook on to the relevant platforms. And an integration is the bringing together of two connectors to make an integration. As you can see, we have many. So we can integrate Amazon, BigCommerce, Breathe, Soloxis, ConnectWise, EPOS Now, and more. So anything on the platform can integrate with anything on the platform. So we could integrate Sage 200 Professional with WooCommerce, Xero, Salesforce, Sage 50, eBay, or we could integrate eBay with Amazon, eBay with Soloxis. So the connectors are independent, and we use the functionality written in these connectors to allow an integration to happen. We're focusing on Sage 200 Professional here specifically. So I wanted to bring you in here to show you the functionality that we have within the Sage 200 connector. So as you can see on the import side, there are many functions, from importing customers into Sage 200, suppliers and contact information, invoices and credits, sales orders and return. And when we go into that function, these are the relevant fields within Sage that we would import the data into. And we have touch points or endpoints to almost every field in sales order processing, as you can see here, including the spare fields, analysis fields, line analysis fields, and much more. So that's beneficial for you to know. Also, if we go back to the connectors, we have very similar for Sage 50, as you can see here, importing data into Sage 50 and exporting data out of Sage 50. So let's look at an e-commerce connector. And one of the most common platforms is Shopify. So if I go into Shopify, we have the ability to export customers from Shopify and thereafter map those customer fields into the Sage customer fields in 50 or 200. So it's just a mapping exercise for either the consultants at EBS or our consultants here at Eureka. If we don't have a connector for a platform or a product the customer uses, we can create a connector as long as that product has an API. If the product hasn't got an API, then we can pick up what we call CSV files from an FTP and bring them into Sage, or export from Sage onto an FTP for either a web developer or a third party to pick up and bring in to the third party. So let's look at the platform as a whole. So let's look at the terminology. We've got dashboard, connector, integrations, and templates. We'll start off at the dashboard. The dashboard allows the user to see the transactions they have used. So on a 50,000 transaction allowance here, I still have over 49,900 left for this period. It's a demo version. And I'm going to be reset tonight on the 6th of July at midnight, and then it will reset for another month. So it's a monthly subscription solution. And it's based on the transaction allowance the user requires. And we explain that to the individual customer as we go. And all the pricing for the various transaction allowance levels are on www.besyncly.com. And if you go to pricing, you can see all the levels in there. So we have some clients on 1,000 transactions per month, but we have others on 500,000 transactions per month and more. There is no ceiling to the amount of transactions we have. So let's now look at the connectors. So as I mentioned before, the widgets that access the relevant platforms to either push data into those platforms or take data out. I'm going to create a connector for WooCommerce, and I'm going to call it EBS Sales. EBS are one of our cherished partners. They support the Eureka products regularly, and we support them as one of our partners. So I'm now going to hook onto a demo WooCommerce site. So imagine this being a connector to create sales orders from WooCommerce into Sage 200. So we'll need the consumer key for WooCommerce and the secret key to give our system access to the back of WooCommerce, so we can create a live system or a testing system. And you'll see here EBS Sales. So there's my connector for WooCommerce for EBS Sales. I already have one for Sage 200. So we now create the integration. So this is a sales order integration. So it's sales orders from Woo. My typing orders in. We'll make it testing integration. So the data, the export connector for us is the EBS sales. There, it's there. So if you've got multiple sites, you saw in there lots of connectors. So if you have multiple sites, we can connect to multiple sites. It doesn't add any cost if you have, as long as you fit in the transaction allowance that you're allocated, then that will be fine. As an import connector, so that would be Sage. So let's pick on the Sage 200 Professional connector. And we'll go Heather Demo. So this is the start of the integration. Now, as a customer, you wouldn't do this. The consultants would come on via and have access to your system remotely via a cloud system, and we build up the integrations from here. So we can add a mapping line. So we pick one field in WooCommerce. So on the left-hand side would be WooCommerce and the right-hand side would be Sage. So let's say, so it'll be first name for the customer, going to the customer. If I just type in first here, customer first name. So we're just mapping. There we go. Just mapping one field in Woo to one field in Sage. So we could say customer's ID. So the customer ID in Woo would go to the customer ID in Sage, and we would build that integration up. There would be customer address, delivery address, phone numbers, anything that we want to map in the integration would map from one system to the other. But also within an integration, we also need to tell Sage or tell Xero or tell NetSuite or tell QuickBooks what we want the integration to do. I know it could be that we map it to a relevant warehouse, or we've got a relevant charge code for delivery, or anything that we need to tell. So we may want to tell Sage that we want to allocate stock to the orders that come in. We want to dispatch them automatically. We want to create the invoice automatically. We want to post that invoice. We want to do a payment with order so that when the payment comes in with the order off the website, it will automatically be allocated to the invoice once it's generated. So there's lots of things we can do. I want to take you to an integration that's already been created rather than waste time adding fields and creating integrations. I'm just going to go in here. And here we have one I've created before. So you'll see order number to customer order number, address line to delivery address line 1, phone number to phone number. Points to note, the SKU in whatever platform we have must match the product code or stock code in Sage. In Sage 200, we have if it doesn't, in Sage 200, we have the ability to add development to Sage using our stock alias. So if that's required, but generally you do need the SKU on your website to match your stock code in Sage. We've got quantity, price, name, total. So here we have all the mapping fields, but as we go further down the integration, here we want the auto nominal code is true. So we're picking the nominal code off the relevant customer or stock items. In this case, all the orders are going into a web sales account. That's the account reference. But we can, if you've got a business to business account and the customer has an account in Sage, when they place an order on the website, it will go to their account in Sage. But if it is a consumer-led website, then perhaps we don't want to keep everyone's details in case they only place an order once in a lifetime. So we don't want to keep their details in our system for years. So we're using tax code 1, tax rate 20%, and the carriage tax code is 4,000. But we could add auto allocate stock and many, many other things. Charge codes, payment codes you might pay through Global Pay or Sage Pay or PayPal. We can set those up in here so that the payment reference, the payment reference is matched in Sage. So we can also set notifications within the integration. Here we can set up an email address that every time the integration happens, it will inform Alan, but it can be a group or a lot of people or whatever. This config option here allows our development team to add functionality into the system that doesn't exist. So if you want some weird and wonderful functions that don't exist which is pretty rare now, then we can add it with development. If I go further up the screen, we can set our scheduler, and we can set it incrementally every 30 minutes, every hour, every 6 hours, or we can say, let's schedule it on days of the week or days of the month. That's a recent change. So we can do it once a month, or we can do it on a Monday at this time. We can do it on a Tuesday at this time, or we can do it just once a month. That's a recent addition. I remember on the 24th of every month, we want to do this. So we'll just confirm that schedule. We'll switch the integration on, we'll save it. At the bottom, we have an audit trail. So if anyone changes anything within the integration, it's noted, so that if the customer or the business partner changes something in the integration, then we can all see it, and we could, if possible, revert back to the original if there's an issue with that change. But it's always good to know. So we save it. I won't save this one, but we would save it and come out, and the integration would allow, as we can see here very quickly in a second when it refreshes, we can switch the integration on and off. We can run it manually. We can edit it. We can change the export filter date. So if our guys are implementing and you haven't processed any orders from the system since about the 7th, 8th or 9th or whatever, then we can just go to that date and update from there, and it will process all the orders from that date. The person who created the integration, and it was Alan on this one, we can edit the notifications and we can edit the schedule. So each process has an integration. So if we're doing orders, it would be an integration process. If we're doing, say, stock levels back to the website, then that would be an independent and have its own scheduler, have its own, so perhaps only people in the warehouse would want to see that integration, so you can set notifications for them. Whenever we do an integration for a client, there is many steps before we get to quoting. There are many steps before we get to starting the implementation. We hold your hand all the way. We get to understand your business, and we're all prepared for delivery. So we understand what nominal codes for what functions, what charge codes you have, whether or not you want to use all stock codes. Many people don't have everything they sell on the Sage on the website. They only have web products, and we can split those or filter those using the stock code analysis fields in Sage 200, so that we only update the stock that you have on the website. And there are many other things we can do. The product has been developed by our team over a period of 6 years, and we have some great brands using our product. One that's very topical at the moment is the St Andrews Old Course, or what is it called? The RNA, who manage the British Open or the Open, and Besyncly is managing the tickets for the Open at Lytham St Anne's. So as the tickets are acquired or purchased, then we update their ERP system back in St Andrews. So that's me. It's a very versatile, user-friendly and up-to-date system connecting via APIs. And I'd now like to pass you back over to Darren.
Thank you, Alan. That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a bit mind-boggling, really, because there are so many possibilities, aren't there? So, you know, I know we're talking to a couple of my accounts at the moment. One is looking at integrating their Salesforce into Sage 2, and I've got another one that's working with Amazon and eBay for golf ball sales. Again, very topical.
Yeah,
But they're using the Linworks product with Sage 200 at the back
yeah,
end. So it just seems like there's an endless amount of possibilities, really.
yeah. As you saw on there is a connector for Linworks. So
Yes,
Linworks
indeed.
is like a multi-platform integration, a bit like Besyncly, but a lot of people have invested heavily in Linworks. So what we do is we take the end of the funnel. So all the orders may be coming from Amazon, eBay, Tesco, or wherever, and they're all filtered down into orders. And we just pick up those orders and allocate them to the relevant accounts in Sage.
Yeah, it's just so flexible, and
Yeah.
it is. I mean, the one thing is, that when you're setting up the connectors, I mean, sometimes there might be a few little bits of complications, but it is really that easy to set up the integration, isn't it?
Yeah, it just takes a bit of time to understand what each field in one system does in another system. It does in another system. It's slightly differently named. The naming convention and say Shopify to Sage 50 is different. So with our experience and over the past 3 or 4 years doing this, we now understand what each field actually does. So know where the correct data in one system goes into the other.
Fabulous. Right, thanks for doing that today, Alan. It's really appreciated. We'll put this up on our YouTube channel.
Brilliant.
Along with, well, we have quite a lot of presentations up there now. But and if you're watching this, don't forget to actually subscribe to our channel so you get notifications when we post future videos up there.
Okay, thank you, Darren.
Thank you very much, Alan.
All the best.